Hello, and welcome back to DevOps Quick Bites, your friendly guide to all things Salesforce DevOps. I'm Rob Cowell, and today we're revisiting the topic of backup and archiving, but with a sharper focus on something we don't talk about nearly enough: compliance and audits. We tend to think about backups in the context of disaster recovery, restoring data after someone hits delete on the wrong thing or when a deployment goes sideways. But there's a much bigger and often overlooked dimension to backup in the Salesforce ecosystem, and that's governance. So if that matters to you, and it should, then stick around. Your Salesforce org likely contains your customer records, sales forecasts, case histories, maybe even sensitive personal or financial data. All of that data, and the metadata structures that support it, form part of your operational integrity. Now, whether you're in a regulated industry or just simply trying to meet best practice, data governance is no longer optional. Regulations like GDPR, CCPA, SOX and HIPAA all carry implications for how you store, secure, access, and ultimately retain your data. And that's where backup and archiving are going to meet that need, not as an insurance policy, but as an operational requirement. Because auditors aren't just interested in what your data looks like today, they're interested in what it looked like last month, last quarter, or even last year. They'll ask, can you show me the configuration that was in place at the time this decision was made? Or can you prove that a specific field was added, changed, or deleted, and by whom? Now, that's not something you can pull out of thin air. That's where your backup strategy becomes a compliance enabler. How does this fit into the DevOps lifecycle? Well, a mature DevOps practice is all about repeatability, visibility, and control. We talk about version control and CI/CD pipelines, but we often forget that backup and archiving are just as critical to managing risk. In fact, a proper backup strategy supports 3 pillars of DevOps excellence. First, resilience. If something breaks, you can recover quickly, down to specific records, components, or metadata configurations. Secondly, traceability. Backups will provide a clear audit trail of what changed, when, and how. This isn't just helpful, it's essential when auditors come knocking. And third, of course, accountability. With granular visibility over your data and metadata history, you can answer hard questions and demonstrate that due diligence. So let's get specific. Under GDPR, for example, you must be able to delete personal data on request, but also show what data was held and processed. And that means being able to trace back historical data snapshots. Under SOX, companies must maintain strict controls over financial data. This includes change tracking for system configurations that influence reporting and controls. Even for less heavily regulated organizations, having an audit-ready backup strategy gives your leadership that peace of mind and frees up your operations team from panic mode debugging when things go wrong. Backups don't just have to sit in a vault waiting for a disaster. They can, and should, be part of your DevOps workflow. Done right, backups serve as a reference point during development. They can be used for environment comparisons, test data generation, or rollback scenarios. And this is why your backup solution needs to do more than just dump a zip file on a server somewhere. It needs versioning, searchability, point-in-time recovery, and kind of importantly, it needs to secure that data to the same standards that apply to your live orgs. If you're using a platform like Gearset, a lot of this is built in by design. Gearset doesn't just offer automated backup for both data and metadata, it makes those backups actionable. You can restore individual objects, metadata components, or an entire org. You can even compare historical backups to your current org state. Super helpful for root cause analysis or compliance reporting. And because it's part of the same DevOps platform that manages your deployments, your changes and your monitoring, it all integrates seamlessly, which means less time stitching together tooling and more time focusing on building. So if you're building a DevOps process for Salesforce that's compliant, auditable, and resilient, backup isn't just a bolt-on, it's a core capability. Backups support your compliance posture. They make audits smoother. They give your business continuity, a safety net. And if your DevOps pipeline has the confidence to move faster, then you do that without fear. So that's all for this episode of DevOps Quick Bites. If you want to stay on top of your DevOps with more episodes, be sure to click the subscribe button to be updated. But for now, thanks for watching, and as always, happy deploying. Bye for now.